Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Slothz team. Straight away heading into this event for the development department. Do we want to support the charity? Yes, we do. Because otherwise, someone will hunt us down. Anyway, over to the calendar now and we'll move on. Quite a long break here between Qatar and Mexico, and so quite a lot of upgrades going in. And there's the results of the charity event. We did get some driver acclaim, which is nice, and we'll continue on. Even did another fundraiser there as one of our activities. Collected some money as well. I'm not sure what we'll be buying, but we will buy something. And we do pick up a very important DRS mechanism upgrade for Mexico. Now, Mexico does have an incredibly long straight, so having a good DRS system here is very, very helpful indeed. So on to practice. We'll see what else we can get before the end of the sessions, and hopefully pick up some more upgrades too, because, I mean, at this point, everyone's going to be maxed out next season, so we may as well try and get as many in early as possible. Over to P3 then, because of course I do use P1 as my practice session with the 0 assists, and I'll have to do the same again when I start racing for season 3, especially since I haven't played for 4 months. It's going to be really difficult to do, and hopefully my steering wheel works, because I have had an issue with gear shifting on it before. Hopefully not again. But that's it. Over to Aero. Let's get some tertiary wing flaps to try and catch up to McLaren, and then also the Venturi tunnels as well. That should put us into the lead there. And there's a quick look at the development there. We're now the fastest car. So then over to the Mexican Grand Prix. Great shots in the background there of the stadium section. Great view of the cars, and I think probably one of the best podiums on the calendar. And just think about all the other events that you could hold in there whilst the cars aren't driving around. It's just a very interesting place to have on a race circuit. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell as well, so you know when all of these races have been uploaded and you stay up to date with the season. Moving on to the starting grid then for the Mexican Grand Prix. On the front row, we have Lando Norris with a surprise pole position in a terrible car, up alongside Sergio Perez. I wonder if there's been a performance update that's broken the game over the past session. There's Piastri in third, alongside Carlos Sainz, Jack Doohan, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon. Then we have Kevin Magnussen, Charles Leclerc, Nico Hülkenberg, then ourselves, Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, Théo Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, Alex Albon, and finally Nick De Vries rounding out the back. Albon with a penalty there, pushed him down. Don't actually know where he would have qualified, presumably 12th or 11th if he's got a 10-place grid penalty. Seems to be the usual punishment. I don't think he received 2 10-place grid penalties though. Seems a little bit out there. Anyway, down to the grid, there's a great shot of our car twice, because of course it is. Why can't we look at any other cars, Codemasters? Right then, so we got a McLaren on pole in like the 6th best car. I don't really know how that works, but looks like there's been some penalties across the field. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But away we go, and we're once again started in a terrible position, but trying to make up positions as we go down the inside of the Haas cars here into turn 1. On the brakes we go, trying not to be blown up as we go through here, and we are somewhat... Oh, a bit of contact there with Kevin Magnussen as we go through the chicane. I think he's got a bit of damage to that end plate, and both Haas cars there actually coming out on top, as we've now got Lance Stroll forming a very dangerous looking sandwich on us here. We'll cut him off, and Magnussen drops back, keeping Hülkenberg up in the top 10 still. Stroll now gets past Magnussen, and now we've got to try and find a way past this Haas. Either way, we're still in a better place than where we started the race, which was way back down the order. And looking down, looks like McLaren's lost the lead, so I guess one element of their car isn't quite good enough to keep them on the front row. That was a terrible start from an Alpine, nearly crashed into a Ferrari and a Red Bull. And as we come powering down towards turn 1, we've seen all of this already. Doohan actually making it quite far up there, nearly getting past the McLaren as well. This was Verstappen. And I think he nearly stalled there. That's the only way I can really explain that. And he got to watch most of the field drive past him, which can't be a fun experience in the slightest. Round we go. Great view of us crashing into the Hasses in that sandwich. And in fact, if we had a better bit of traction out of that chicane, we would have had the pair of them there. This was Doohan's start on the hard tyre, but absolutely smokes Oscar Piastri. And Lando Norris as well, not having a great time, also running the hard tyre. So all three of these guys kind of at a disadvantage here. Although having said that, it looks as though Carlos Sainz up ahead, also running the hard tyre. Just Perez in the lead now, who isn't. So interesting, again, with the choices of tyre compounds that are going on here. But here we go, we're chasing down Hulkenberg, who's got DRS, so we're not making as much inroad as we'd like, but we do dive up the inside on the brakes, and we are through into P8 now. Chasing down George Russell down towards the end of the next DRS streak, but we're not going to close up too much here. We do pick up the fastest lap though, so again, that DRS upgrade has helped. And through we go. Let's see how far up the field we can make it. We're going to cut away now actually to see what's going on in the world of Jack Doohan. He should get DRS on Norris here. He does. Give Hamilton a tow as well. Norris now vulnerable as he does not have the DRS from Sainz ahead. And I think that's just down to the fact that the McLaren just isn't that good at the moment. And locking up into turn 1, we've seen that there before in F1 22, where he famously locks up on the penultimate race of the season and basically lost the championship to me at that point when we were driving for BMW in an alternative universe. Again, Norris goes wide as we crash into the side of Lewis Hamilton, a little bit preoccupied looking at what Norris was doing there, as he somehow recovers, only losing the one position. But Hamilton elbows his way through and into, what is he, P4. Piastri and Hulkenberg as well behind. I think there was a bit of position change going on with Hulkenberg. This was Norris into turn 1. We've seen this before, but not quite as bad as before for his lockups there. And he manages to stay mostly alongside Doohan, but Doohan on that dodgy track, part of the track, wasn't able to get alongside him. It was just the DRS that helped. But then Norris, again, locks up the right-hand tyre this time. Hamilton gets through and hits his front wing, and then probably hits us just off camera. And Norris really lucky there not to drop back into P6, but he's only really going to stay where he is now with the tow from the Mercedes, and Hamilton's only getting a tow from Doohan, so who knows what's going to happen as we've got a yellow flag up ahead, and it's Sergio Perez is out of the Mexican Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix. Of all of the circuits that this could have happened, it had to be here. Sergio Perez has the worst luck when it comes to the Mexican Grand Prix on this channel, and he has retired in front of a grandstand of fans. Thoroughly disappointed now that he's not going to win this race. That gifts the lead to Carlos Sainz, our main rival from Qatar. And he's got a pretty good cushion as well. He's quite far ahead, much like he was at the end of the first stint in Qatar, actually. So maybe we'll be able to catch up a little bit later on. We'll just have to see. what happens. Mexico does seem to bring up a few safety cars, in my experience. So we got the DRS on Norris, and that better traction for the softs, even though they're warm, will allow us up the inside here on the better grip, nearly locking the rears and going off the circuit and causing a bit of comedy for the crowd watching. Doohan has survived, but Hamilton is right behind him, and this is going to go all the way down to turn 1, and I think Hamilton might get the position from him this time. As we slide around, I'm pretty sure that was some divine intervention that allowed us to get around that corner then. I could see the car sliding around through the bend as opposed to driving through it. We've got a yellow flag again for something. I'm not sure what that's for. But round the final corner we go. Let's see how Hamilton does here. We might be able to help out. Or not, because the safety car has been deployed. And looking down at the mini-map, we've got a Haas stopped around the stadium. And what's happened here? This is the replay of Hulkenberg and how to lose your points in Formula 1. He has given 10th to Magnussen, but I don't think Magnussen is going to stay there very long with Charles Leclerc behind him. But well, at least the safety car, he can run in the points for a little bit longer. We'll just see how it goes. So now we've got to try and back up a little bit. We have made a little bit of a gap to stop a double stack from occurring, but it's going to happen. We're just going to have to live with it. Doohan goes in. It looks like Verstappen has decided not to pit, so he's going to lose this race. Albon as well as Porsche. Interesting. Okay, so we're net P5 then, behind Norris, Hamilton and Doohan. Slothz, as I mentioned earlier, has lost his lead due to unforeseen circumstances. Or Nico Hulkenberg waiting around for a safety car like a fucking multiplayer driver. Safety car comes in, as does Porsche, and Albon. Verstappen has decided to stay out, which means he will lose this race. Clearly he wants to join Perez at the bottom of that leaderboard if he can. We're under threat now from Lance Stroll, who is pushing hard on the restart, but I think we're okay as Doohan now goes for a move for P2. Well, effectively net P1. Not done it just yet, though. And now we're making a move on Norris and Hamilton. Can we get past the two of them this time without making contact? As we go down towards the next chicane, Norris on the very inside. We're going to give them a lot of room this time, given what Hamilton was like before. We give him a bit of his own medicine there as we barge him around, force him to the outside. Another bit of impact there. He does get past. Norris is still hanging on around the outside and is going to keep P4, I think, here. Unless Hamilton slips around the outside here. Hamilton with some contact. He does do it. And we're going to go up the inside of Lando Norris as well. I think we got through there with no contact. Stroll also gets through. So not a great start for Lando Norris, dropping all the way back to P7 and being overtaken by Lance Stroll. A humiliating restart for the McLaren driver. And I think it was a bit of contact here, which caused him to slow down just enough, left the gap and ran wide. And it's just allowed everyone to go piling through. You really don't want to have a bad line going through there. Anyway, we rejoin on lap 10, the end of lap 10. Jack Doohan chasing down Carlos Sainz. I think there's going to be some DRS action in a moment, but you can see that the other cars are a little bit more fast out of the final corner, and Sainz, without DRS, lines up a move. I think I saw green flags for some reason. There isn't a yellow flag though, so I don't know what that's about. Sainz up the inside of Verstappen, who is running the old medium tyres. Doohan may have a chance here down into the chicane, and he's got to do it if he wants to try and win this race and keep up with Sainz, because there's going to be DRS action going on in a moment. But it looks as though the skills of Verstappen against Doohan seems to be paying off here. Doohan up the inside. I think he's done it, but Verstappen, no. Round the outside, retakes P2. I don't understand why he would fight this, because he's got to come into the pit lane. So he's just going to drop back to 21st anyway. So interesting choice from Verstappen. Doohan again looking up the inside, but Verstappen just will not give up the place. I mean, a sensible person would have come in under the safety car. A slightly less sensible person would have just let Doohan past and come in at the end of this lap. Verstappen stays out again on what can only be described as a Jack Doohan strategy from previous races. And now he's under attack from Hamilton and Verstappen as a result of Verstappen being a complete twat. Can he keep hold of P2? He's got it as brief... very briefly, Hamilton, it looked as though, again, locked up and crashed into the side of another car and is just ahead. We're now overtaking Verstappen and should probably take his front wing off in revenge.
Good job.
And the threat of an overtake has prompted Hamilton to go defensive there, so he's not going to threaten doing too much. Sainz, though, look at the gap. We don't know what the time difference is, but he is significantly ahead at this point of the race, and I don't think we're going to stand a chance at catching up to him. So this is all about damage limitation. Can we get past the two of these two and hold up Hamilton so Doohan can take P3 as Hamilton tries to snake his way past? The two of these going side by side, just allowing us to catch up really nicely. And look at that, Doohan actually getting past Hamilton, albeit very slowly, even though Hamilton has the DRS, but it wasn't enough. And of course the driver's skill does play a factor when it comes to this side-by-side action, and Doohan's just not got the stats at the moment. The HQ isn't upgraded enough to help him out in any way, shape or form. So Carlos Sainz up ahead, 6.5 second lead. We're just going to take out Lewis Hamilton here, and hopefully we can hold him up just enough that in the next 10 laps Doohan can make his way past and reclaim P3 and a spot on the podium, which will be one of his only spots at the podium he's ever had. As you can see, we're already taking wide lines through the final corner to try and stop Hamilton, who's got the DRS. Doohan, also with the DRS, goes to the outside, and he is passed before turn 1, but we've still got quite a way to go, so I can't say I'm too bothered at this point. Lap 18. Chasing down Doohan, who has allowed a bit of a gap to Hamilton, so we're going to have to go help him out. As we go, Razor Slothz versus Razor Slothz, but that ERS deployment really helping. And our setup, of course, as all the AI seem to just use the standard one. As we get through these chicanes, you can see there was a bit of sliding going on there. Part of that was our line across the curb. Part of that was the tyre wear. He did come in a little bit early. More contact with Hamilton there as we forced him across the sausage curb, and he has lost the position, although we've gone quite wide there through that double right-hander. And look, Lando Norris is caught up and joined the party after that awful start that he had. He has recovered to P5. And somehow Magnussen's still in the points as well. Anyway, lap 23, Doohan has finally gotten past Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton will have to be mindful of what's going on behind now, because I'll be giving Doohan the DRS here as to help him stay ahead of the Mercedes and the McLaren. But Hamilton has to defend from Norris as well. And they've also got Leclerc not far behind too. So with 2 laps to go, he's got to watch out. Down the straight we go then. And Doohan will get the DRS to try and pull away from Hamilton. He's creating a bit of a gap there. And he's actually going to go for a move down the inside of us into turn 1. We sweep it round the outside. We might have to put our teammate in his place here as we go side by side still. through the second part of turn 1 as we power down towards the end of the second DRS straight. Into the braking zone we go, and Doohan stays behind us, but he's quite close here. And the AI will use 119 million% of their battery on the final lap, which means we are a little bit vulnerable here, especially when we've got 3 cars behind us in close succession, all with DRS. Doohan to the outside now, down towards turn 1, and he's already got the move done on us before he's even hit the braking zone. That was a great move from Doohan there. Waiting for the right moment. And he certainly waited for the right time there. There are not many opportunities for us to get past later on this track. We are right behind him here. Taking a couple of different lines just to try and find a way past. And he's doing a good job there at holding us back right in the middle of the line that we want to take as we come into the twisty Sector 2. No overtake opportunities here, but it's been crucial to get the exit right onto the DRS straight. We can try and close up here into the stadium section. We're going to go for a move there, but we're not close enough into the stadium section. As we come through, we go. Slothz has already won the race, but we will come second to our teammate. Doohan takes P2, we take P3. It's a double Razor Slothz podium, but Doohan is the better of the two of us today. That will significantly help him in the Drivers' Championship. I think he's still quite far down the table at the moment, so we'll see where he is now after that result. But it does mean Lewis Hamilton has become the 2024 Drivers' Champion. Once again, he is now the 8-time world champion, I suppose, at this stage. After a spell of Red Bull wins, Carlos Sainz, race winner here in Mexico. If it weren't for Sergio Perez getting knocked out at the start, who knows what would have happened. But Ferrari will be celebrating that one because they also need points in the Constructors. And here are these final results. Carlos Sainz picking up the win and the fastest lap for maximum points, followed by Jack Doohan and Radiant Slothz on the podium. Then we have Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Kevin Magnussen rounded out the top 10. Over to the Drivers' Championship then. Lewis Hamilton has now won over George Russell, but there is a chance for us to pick up P2 here if the circumstances are right in Abu Dhabi. No, Portugal is the final race of the season. Anyway, behind us 3, we have Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Jack Doohan breaks his way into the top 10. Joint 10th, we have Lance Stroll, then behind them Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hulkenberg, Joe Guan Yu, Logan Sargent, Theo Pourchaire, and Nick De Vries. And finally, for the Constructors, Mercedes are very far ahead of Ferrari and have probably secured P2 there. Red Bull in third have secured that one. I don't think we can catch up to them. Behind them, Aston Martin, Alpine, McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, and finally Williams. And we'll catch you for the series finale in Portugal.